So today I am delighted to be joined by both my guests, Nelly Berova and Daniel Zairi from Art Division. How are we doing, guys?
Very well, David. Thank you very much.
Very well, thank you. Good to be here.
Nice to have you with us, Daniel. I know your first time on the show, but once you get addicted to this, you'll keep coming back, I promise you.
Yes.
It's a big celebration. So for the next 25 minutes, roughly, we're going to be celebrating 25 years of Art Division. It's a long time to be in business, and you've seen a lot of different things change over this time. One of the biggest changes I think that has been brought to both marketing or any form of business at the moment seems to be that age-old question of AI. So to throw you the first question, how is AI changing property marketing today, and how has it changed since 25 years ago when you arrived on the scene?
Wow, that's a big question. 25 years ago, we didn't have Google for a start.
Right.
Google became sort of number one around 2004, 2005. When we started, actually, the main search engine, at least the one that I was using, was called Ask Jeeves. And Yahoo as well was the kind of
Yeah,
main search
I
engine
remember
at the
that.
time. And it was more of a directory rather than a search engine. And so throughout the years, as Google became the number one, it dictated the rules of the game. And of course, us as a marketing agency, we had to change awful lot throughout the years as Google adapted and changed and evolved. So, of course, now we're pivoting yet again with AI. And as most of the listeners would know, that AI is about giving you answers as opposed to people going through the first page of Google and clicking in every single website, one website at a time. The main shift now is where AI is actually giving you the answer directly.
So I'm presuming, therefore, the impact on that AI is going to have on the state agency is going to force us to change. Well, it should force us to change our behavior because we can't just keep doing what we've been doing until now, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, there will be a lot of changes coming. Agents should be already implementing a lot of those changes right now, and they're big changes. So for those that haven't even started, I would seriously consider that they do, at least to read about it and find out what it is that they need to be doing right now, because the game is changing and has already changed to a degree. So yeah.
So does this mean that we can forget about Google? Is it going to become more or less important? Because I know they also changed the rules of the game quite a bit.
Definitely, I don't think we should forget about Google. Google is definitely not dying, but it's simply not going to be anymore the main game in town. There are other platforms coming in, and of course, AI platforms are the one leading the way, and they are taking a growing share of the high intent search, especially search that has comparison queries in it. So, the best estate agent in Kensington or the best valuation or the best agent to do my valuation for my home in Golders Green, whatever that might be. I think this is definitely a growing segment. So definitely Google is not going anywhere, but I think this is where things are shifting from a search point of view. And I think I will add on top of it, and I'm sure we will cover a little bit more of that shortly, is that I think that if we fast forward maybe 5 years, from now, what I think we're going to see is that AI will dominate the primary discovery layer between buyers and agents mainly. Buyers, it can be also renters, but I think that will be the segment. So currently people will go to the likes of Zoopla and Rightmove and they will run a search. And I think that future comes, people will either by voice ask their phone, I'm looking for a two-bed flat in Kensington
Yeah.
again, and they will count on an output to give them the best results. And from there, they will choose if they want to go and visit a specific agent. And so I think we're definitely going to be this shift happening. It's not there yet. And yeah, but I think this is how it will mainly impact the estate agents. We'll start with buyers and renters and slowly move into also your vendors and landlords, how they will decide who they're going to use, how they find the right agents, etc.
So it's always tempting to try and sort of keep one eye on the future as to where we're meant to be, but it's very quickly moving. So if you're not on it today, then it moves a few meters forward every day, and you need to sort of keep up with it. What should, in your opinion, an agent be doing right now in order to stay visible on AI search?
Yeah, I think I'll answer that because this is technical, so I'll take that question. Currently, I think if I do a zoom out, what would be like the core things that anyone who owns a website, is stage agent that own a website needs to look at will be most likely your FAQs, frequently asked questions that they have on their website, their schema markup. So this is very technical, but this is the code that sits behind a website that speaks to the likes of ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. The local area guides that they have, the content, sorry, that directly answers questions that buyers or renters or landlords or vendors, for that matter, are asking, and you want like a snippet answer to be able to provide these answers for them. So websites and the way they are geared at the moment really needs to take into account those kind of questions that might be asked by the likes of ChatGPT and Gemini and the LLMs, the large language modules that are operating in the sphere. So yeah, I think this
So basically all that technical stuff is dishing up the answers in a format that AI likes to see it in. It's easy.
Correct, but it's not just the technical. So the technical supports the visual. And when I say visual, I mean the content that you and me, we log into a website and we read it, we visually see the content, and the content needs to make sense to us. So when we arrive to that page, it needs to, it's kind of like, think about it almost like every page you visit on a website needs to be an elevator pitch for what this page is about, or what the service is about, or what the property is about. And it takes this immediate elevator pitch, this very quick answer that gives you the answer. Then you can decide you continue to read everything else. So I think that's kind of like a shift in understanding of how a page needs to be structured and what information we need to put on it.
So when we talk about sort of traditional SEO, a lot of people just finished getting their heads around that. But will that still matter? Is SEO still a thing?
100%. SEO is definitely not going anywhere. SEO, in a way, is your foundation. This is how it needs to be treated. So it's still there. We need to optimize the website for what it is that we want to rank for. So from a ranking point of view on Google, Yahoo, Bing, etc. But the geo, the generative engine optimization, as we call it, is the new layer that is going to be on top of that. So this is the layer that sits on top, and it will get you quoted in the AI answers, being ChatGPT, being Gemini, etc. This is what we see. So it is super crucial to optimize your website and to structure it from an SEO standpoint, so it answers all of the right intent behind it, and then obviously structure it from how the page is laid out, the information we put. But then we definitely need to take into account the geo side of things, so the generative engine side of things, where we, as we discussed earlier, as we optimize it for your elevator pitch, so to speak, and everything else that comes alongside that.
That makes a lot of sense. You touched on their rankings. So everybody's sort of familiar with rankings and the need to sort of be close to the top. We also know that we spend a lot of our time sort of pushing for reviews, because that's meant to help us with our rankings. Reviews, rankings, is there a difference? Are they both on the same side? Are reviews worth more than the rankings? How does it work? Does one influence the other?
Great question. Reviews definitely stays relevant. Like I cannot stress more how important they are. AI platforms treat reviews velocity, so how quick and consistent a good review, for that matter, let's assume that you have good reviews, but good reviews are being added one on top of the other. So velocity, consistency, sentiment, those are all trust signals for the AI, if I can put it that way. So I think a steady stream of authentic reviews, which we always wanted to do in the past, but now they become much more critical for any agent to have, are becoming directly an influencer on whether you get recommended or not by the AI agent. So that is your me chatting with ChatGPT and asking who is the best estate agent to use in Kensington. And if you if you got yourself all of those good reviews that we've just discussed about, there is a very good probability that you're going to be appearing on the chat citation. So ChatGPT will say, well, you know what, you need to choose this X agent because according to my assessment, they really fall under the umbrella of a good reviewed agent, and I'm going to recommend it to you. Super important.
Very
I also want to
interesting.
add to that not all AI platforms use the same signal. So, for example, Google will use the Google reviews as their signal for assessing reviews from customers, while as ChatGPT prefers the likes of Trustpilot or all agents. So, while as before having reviews on one platform might have been enough, now we need to pay attention to where our reviews are and how we attracting reviews from all the platforms, depending on what platforms are influencing what AI platforms.
Yeah.
So that's another thing which kind of makes it a little bit more complex to a degree. I also wanted to add about the SEO a sentence, and that is that like 10 years ago, we used to focus predominantly on keywords and backlinks. That was the core of SEO, which still is. We still do that. But today, it's increasingly about expertise, authority, and trust. So that's the layer that Daniel is talking about, that we are adding on top of the traditional SEO that we've been working on for many years now.
Yeah, actually, that's a very, very good point. And I will add on top of Nelly's point, just to say that there is this perception that, you know, you can just generate any content using AI. It's so cheap and anyone can generate content. Fact of the matter is that if you don't take the core SEO, so when we analyze a keyword, a phrase you want to rank for, and then you gear your page around that specific phrase or keyword, just generating content, which would be probably copied from somewhere else or just randomly generated for you by AI, is not going to achieve the same goal. And I think this is where a lot of the times we might face with this question, whereas people will think, well, I might as well just ask ChatGPT to generate for me the content, but it cannot be further from the truth, either because you're optimizing a specific page or maybe because you want to write an article that you wanted to rank. And this always needs to be on the basis, the foundation of an article like that or page, that needs to be a proper research, understanding what you're trying to rank for, what's the volume for it, what's the value behind it, why are you doing it. And that's kind of like a missing part or missing piece for many agents that speaks to us about why should I use an agency, or why should I optimize properly by professionals my pages rather than just me doing it with AI. So I just wanted to highlight that.
No. Honestly, the more I listen to you two, the more I realize I can't do it on my own anyway, and I need some very professional help. I'm good at selling houses, but this sort of stuff is a field all of its own. So you talk there about sort of the type of content that people are perhaps generating, and you know, and how you might structure it within the site to rank better with AI and everything else. But in an AI driven world, is there a type of content that works best?
No, I'll take that, Daniel. So, I mean, the quick answer is unique content. Because at the moment, the internet doesn't need another top 10 tips of selling your home. There's plenty of those blog articles. They're super quick to write by going into the likes of ChatGPT and saying, write me an article about the tips of selling your home. And instead of creating sort of generic type content, it's all about showing that you're a local expert. So the better types of content to create right now are things like local market updates. They're quite unique. They're unique to the locality of where the estate agent is based, and they're unique to the estate agent's perception and viewpoint for the local market. Things like area guides, school catchment insights, what properties are selling for. I suppose what Christopher Watkins is talking about, you know, something that is unique, that adds statistics and adds a unique angle that relates to what the estate agent is doing. Landlord legislation updates with the Renters' Rights Bill. There's just so much to cover now, and how that impacts landlords in a particular area, and neighborhood trends as well. So Everything is about, or it should be about the locality, and it should be original and genuinely useful. Because at the moment, everyone can go into an AI platform and ask it to create a blog article in a few seconds,
Well,
which then litters the internet with a mediocre, average type
well,
article.
I was just about to ask you that, given that AI is so ubiquitous these days, it's everywhere, everyone's using it, we're using it on our phones, we're using
Yeah.
it. I know people who now no longer will respond to an email without asking the AI first what it thinks about the response that they're going to say. So in some ways it's helping, in some ways it's hurting, but we have got a world that is populated full of these really long M dashes everywhere. And the word quietly is now quietly hidden in all of the sort of content. There are AI tails, aren't there? And we're all guilty of overusing it. But given that it's so easy for people to generate that vanilla, samey content, I'm not asking the question in a fair way because I'm forcing you to tell me that it's bad. But I feel that it's samey, and I really fear that actually, if agents are left to their own devices and we're all just relying on AI, however clever we are, we all think AI is a little bit like my kitchen, right? We're all going to cook the same meal, but I think it's special because I put this in first before I put that in, and it's the way that I stir the pot that makes the dish come out a certain way.
Yeah.
But let's face it, we're all eating mashed potatoes tonight, right?
Yeah.
And I think you get that you get to that point with AI. So the question is all of that AI generated content, can it hurt more than it helps?
Well, I mean, it's helping with efficiency, but it shouldn't replace expertise, and that's the key. So it can help you draft content, it can help you with the research, but if everyone publishes the same generic information, no one will stand out. So the question is, how do you stand out with the content that you produce so that when someone is searching for information, it's you that is quoted and it's you that's providing the answer. And that can only happen if you don't just copy and paste an article that is written entirely by AI, but add something unique to this article. You can use AI to scale, but not to replace human intervention of some sort. So there is definitely room for copywriters. So don't fire your copywriter just yet.
Okay.
And if you are not using a copywriter, make sure that you are editing absolutely everything that you're producing with AI to a point where you're actually giving it a unique angle that doesn't exist anywhere else. Because all AI does is it regurgitates existing content. The way AI would write blog articles, it will go out there, it will find existing information and content, and it will put it in a blog article in a fairly well written way. To be fair, actually, AI platforms have evolved over the past 6 months incredibly. Every week we see improvements in so many different ways. But the limitation is that it can only take information from what's already out there. So, estate agents need to look at how can they contribute with content that doesn't already exist out there,
Yeah.
so that they are producing something that's fairly unique. So we don't publish blog articles that are only entirely written by AI. We're very, very hot on this, and we believe that absolutely every article should be edited, changed, if not entirely written by a writer, then hugely edited, so that we want our clients to be the source of answers. And they are at the moment for majority of the questions that you put in to do with the renters' rights bill or anything to do with selling or buying homes. The chances are that one of our clients will be mentioned in the AI reviews at the top of the Google search. And the reason why is because of the way we structure our content. We don't regurgitate existing content. There is a unique angle to what we produce, and for every client, it's unique. We don't use the same content again and again for all the clients.
Still talking about different types of content, we've been pushing past few years already, but we're preaching sometimes to the converted, but there's still lots of agents that are neglecting video, but we've been pushing it like mad. they need to do it. It builds trust.
Yeah.
It's a really good way to talk to your audience. Is video still as important as ever? In some ways, in this kind of AI generated world, will it become more important?
Yes, that's a very good question. I think video builds trust very fast. People want to see the people behind the brand as well, and people buy from people, especially within the world of property. Estate agents essentially are offering a service. And so video is definitely a great way to showcase your expertise, your local knowledge, and to build that trust with the customers that are going to use you. So a 2-minute video discussing the local market can impress your customers a lot more than a 1,000-word blog article. So between the two, from building that trust, video is definitely at the top. From a ranking point of view, video is not quite there yet. Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that AI bots can scan video content in the way that they can scan words. And so when it comes to answering questions within the platforms, it's the blog articles that are fitting the answers, not so much the video. So I think, they both have their own place, but video for sure is something that needs to be part of the mix.
Yeah, one caveat to that, by the way, videos that use the transcript of the video appearing if you're using YouTube or whatever platform you're using, that's kind of like your substitution to an AI not being able to actually download and look at the video. So it will look at your transcript of the video, and that is how it will make its opinion. Because if somebody is looking, can you show me the best videos about XYZ? That's how the AI will judge if this is something they should show you or not. So all I'm saying is I always encourage anyone who's using videos, use the transcription of your video to be presented and available to any of the crawlers out there.
Okay. Well, using video, I'm going to use that to segue into my next question. Video as a content form we're very familiar with on platforms such as Facebook, Instagram. In many ways, they were built for visual content like that. Until a few years ago, LinkedIn was a place where you'd never used to see anything particularly interesting like video, but now we're seeing it come up a lot more on there. I personally like LinkedIn. I think a lot of people do because it allows them to sound more clever than they actually are. On LinkedIn, everybody's a thought leader, everybody's got something to say. But genuinely, we always kind of discounted it as a primary route for business because we thought, well, our customers don't live on LinkedIn, our competitors do, but our customers live on Facebook and Instagram and places like that. That's changing that perception, right?
Yeah, so with LinkedIn for a very long time, I personally used to say to people, LinkedIn is a B2B platform. So it's great for letting agents who are after portfolio landlords who are running a business and therefore they're going to be on LinkedIn. It's great for networking and meeting other business owners, maybe passing referrals, things like that. There is one new aspect of LinkedIn that I personally didn't consider until recently, which is huge, and that is that LinkedIn it helps to build authority, and it's the authority that the AI platforms need in order to decide whether you're an expert in a particular area or not. So if you build your profile, if you post regularly on LinkedIn as an expert as an estate agent, for example, in a particular area, and you share a lot of content about how to sell your house or how to let or how to manage your house, and obviously you have your followers, you have engagement or comments, that shows authority for all those external AI platforms, and it's the authority that then in turn will help with the visibility of your brand within the AI platforms. So I think that there is this additional layer that LinkedIn is now adding to the mix that actually is huge. And it's not something that you can directly prove and say, well, because I'm on LinkedIn, I'm mentioned 3 more times on ChatGPT. It doesn't work like that. It's really hard to measure.
It's part of the mix.
But it's definitely part of the mix. If I was to rank them and say, well, okay, do I start with LinkedIn? Should I put all my eggs into one basket and sort of start building my authority into LinkedIn? My quick answer would be no. I would start with building your reviews on platforms such as Google or Trustpilot or All Agents. But if you can expand into LinkedIn as well, then absolutely, in order to build authority. But the most important things to focus on would be your reviews and your website. Those are the top 2 things that would help with your AI ranking.
So is there a sense with all of this that this kind of classic David and Goliath situation where you had massive corporates with huge marketing departments, etc., and a lot of budget and resource are now are we as smaller independent agents able to stand up to them and compete a lot better in this day and age? Do we have an advantage or are we leveling that playing field a bit?
Well, I think this is where AI creates opportunity because large brands often rely on scale, while as independent agents can win through expertise. Majority of our clients are independent agents, and we outrank some of the largest brands in the areas that we compete. And it's to a degree easier for an independent agent that is focusing on smaller number of areas, but it's focusing well to outrank and outdo the bigger corporates. So the way we're seeing it is that AI definitely creates opportunity for that. So, if you're focusing on being the best for your areas by producing the best content you can, best area guides, best local content, better local videos, building the local community and relationship with the local community, that is definitely going to work towards you getting more in comparison to a larger brand who is obviously targeting a lot of areas.
Yeah, yeah. Right. So we're looking for a little bit of almost like quick fire answers now. A
Yeah.
little bit of value that we can pass on to the people that are watching this and reading this. If you were talking to an agent who's just they're working from a cold start, so starting an estate agency today, and they know they can't do everything all at once, so they need to pick some things, they need to make some choices. What channels, what marketing channels would you be telling them to prioritize today?
Yeah. I mean, again, I'll start. Number 1, reviews and reputation. You need to have reviews and to build your reputation locally in order to get any inquiries or any mentions. Your website content on optimization, hugely important. That should be probably the first thing that everyone should be working on. Google Business Profile, again, is part of the building reviews and the reputation. Video content. I would then say email marketing in order to communicate on an ongoing basis with your prospects. I would then look at Facebook and Instagram because this is where your local sellers and landlords are. And then at the end, I would say LinkedIn in order to improve your authority.
Okay, sound advice, sound advice. And in terms of those agents that are obviously going to be using AI, they have to, right? You need to be in the race somehow. What are the biggest mistakes that you see agents making with AI use at the moment, and how should they avoid that?
I think,
Yeah, go for it, Daniel.
I think I have one word that describes the biggest mistake probably that agents are doing right now with AI, which is waiting. And I've seen in a recent article, I've seen that 93% of agents, they say that AI search isn't impacting them yet. However, 84% of them believe that it will become the primary search method. So if agents are acting now or not acting now, obviously it makes no sense, right? Like if you actually believe this is what's going to happen, and if the majority of
Doing nothing isn't the option, right?
Exactly. And we don't see that correlation between those who think something is going to happen and those who rush to actually do something about it. So I think that's probably just don't sit on your hands, do something about it.
Yeah.
Sound advice. Very sound advice.
I would like to add to that the agents at the moment are focusing on content generation instead of authority generation. So I think that's the shift they need to look into.
Authority and
Everyone is
expertise.
asking, sorry, say it again?
Authority and expertise, yes.
Authority and expertise, exactly. So everyone is asking, how can AI write my blogs? The question should be, how can I become the most trusted source of property information in my area?
Yeah.
And that's where the opportunity lies.
So if I could only choose three things that I'm going to do in the next 6 months with my agency, what should they be?
Okay, so I would say improve and increase online reviews, like we said. Turn your website into a genuine local knowledge hub. Make sure you've got your frequently asked questions, your area guides, your market insights, and start publishing regular video content and blog content and to showcase expertise.
Okay. Sound advice. Right. This next question is one that every marketeer has got their own answer on. And some agents shockingly still don't have a budget for marketing. You ask them what their budget is, what their annual spend is, and it's shockingly low. And because they're responsive, they're constantly sort of paying out for small little hits here and there without sort of planning it ahead.
Yeah.
But if you had to advise somebody marketing in 2026, where should they be investing that marketing spend? Because we can spend it everywhere now, can't we?
Absolutely. And of course, I know that for a lot of agents, the portals are taking a big chunk of that marketing budget. And so what's left crumbs in comparison to what should be invested in a proper digital marketing campaign. But again, I'm going back to reputation management, which mostly costs time for the agent as opposed to money. Website optimization, hugely important. Don't rely on a cheap template website to do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Agents need to realize that your website is the most important asset in your organization, and it needs to work 24 hours a day and bring you inquiries. Local content creation is another one where you need to invest time and effort or money and pay someone to do that for you in order to ensure that you are the one quoted in the answers when people are having conversations with AI. Obviously, video production goes without saying. Email nurturing. Email is not going anywhere. It's still very much a channel that we should be using in order to nurture our contacts long term. And CRM automation. A lot of CRMs out there already investing in some form of automation. If the CRM can help with automating a lot of the tasks, then the time that's left for the agent needs to be invested in marketing the business.
One more thing to add to that, which seems to always kind of get forgotten, which is link building. Because the fact of the matter is that anyone who thinks that they can position themselves in a place where they will get traffic and recognition from an online point of view without exercising some link buildings to their website. And when we say link building, really all it is, it's recommendation. The difference is that it's other websites recommending you. That's really where the difference lies. And if you don't have X amount of recommending you, just like any business, if no one recommends you, well, why would anyone come in your door? Like, it makes no sense. It's engines or search engines work in the same principle. And I know we don't talk about it a lot, but it's super important. And I just wanted to make a point that that should be one of the pieces in the puzzle. Yeah,
that's a good point. And to be fair, link building obviously is hugely important for SEO. And there is a new type of link building for AI, which is not it doesn't work in the same way as your traditional links for SEO. They're different type of links. Of course, learning about this and investing in this will pay the dividends later down the line for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's some absolute gold in that conversation that we've just had, and that you get for free. All you have to do is sit through me and Nelly and Daniel talking, and you get some absolute gold for free there. But in terms of enlisting our division to help with all of this, and also bringing us full circle back to the 25-year anniversary celebrations, Nelly, I understand that July is your kind of big celebration month, and you've got a fantastic deal that you're pushing out as well. Explain to people how they can get involved with our division and why the time is now.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, David, for asking me that question. So yeah, 25 years is a long time, and I realized the other day that it's half my life. So it tells you how old I am. In fact, we have one of our staff members that was born 2 months before I registered the company. So she's literally half the age of the business. Um, sorry, it's not half the age. She's as old as the business, half my age. But yeah, so the offer is 25% off any new website if you inquire between now and the 31st of July. And if we produce a proposal for you, you've got until the end of the year to progress. So even if you come in November and say, yep, I'm ready to go ahead, we will honor this 25% off, just as long as the inquiry and the conversation has happened in July. We are also offering 25% off any add-ons to our existing clients, because without our existing clients, we won't be where we are right now. So we feel that this is our way of saying thank you for being part of our journey. And the same way, any existing client who approaches us during July and asks us to add any of our add-ons to their website, we will apply 25% off. And the best way to contact us is via our website, either via standard contact form, or we have various of other forms as well on various of different pages. Any of those forms will be absolutely fine. We talked about it in our previous video, but we have a free AI visibility review, which is still available. So if anyone is wondering, well, how am I doing right now from an AI point of view? Are people finding me? What should I be doing? We offer a free visibility review, and if after that we end up quoting for any work, we will of course apply a 25% off.
Superb. You can't ask for more than that. You can't ask for more than that. So just as long as you use it all by stroke of midnight, 31st of December, call Nelly. I want to go ahead. I need to go ahead now.
Yes.
No, but it's great. Don't wait on this, because I think what Daniel said earlier is the truth. The biggest mistake that people are making is waiting and procrastinating and not taking the bull by the horns and getting on with it. And it doesn't need to be painful when you've got people like Daniel and Nelly around you. It never is. They make that is their expertise, and they free you up to go and do what it is that you do best. And then you have that beautiful combination of it all coming together. Nelly, Daniel, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, David.
Thank you very much.